Beginning with Heidi's first job out of college at Tandem, she understands the importance of making a network, and so she reaches out to the connection of her friend who is the hiring manager at Tandem. She makes the phone call and puts herself out there and gets the job. And from there she works on developing her professional relationship with the CEO, which she understands to be difficult because she doesn't have anything in common. There's nothing to really help her get her foot in the door. But she really understands the concept of give and take, and she sees that she has something to offer the CEO, being the main form of communication between him and his employees. So that's what really gets her network going, helps her establish that. From there, with her decision to get a second degree to go to business school, she's able to use that connection as a recommendation for business school. She meets a friend there, she makes connections while in business school that help her as she moves to going into business with her brother with Teamaker. And so there she really begins working on expanding her network, maximizing any conversation she can, and just using her own personality and the skills she already possesses to really just branch out to join groups that help her get her name out there and also learn important names. Moving from that to Apple, she spent her time with Tandem and Teamaker establishing this connection in these networks. And then at Apple, she begins cashing in on those and asking for favors and eventually returning favors. But something that struck me as interesting with her time at Apple is that she used her network to really better her division as a whole, or the company as a whole. It wasn't just for an individual's gain, as we sometimes think a network is. Moving from that to her time spent as a mentor capitalist, she was able to work independently and work flexibly because of the network she had established. And that carried over into her time at SoftBank because she was able to decide the hours, how much she wanted to work, how much she wanted to be involved, and in what capacity. And so she had established herself at each of her previous jobs as credible, and that just gave her leverage with each job she had following that. As far as the second question goes, with her case and the different concepts we studied in this module, easily the concepts in the Cialdini article about the science of persuasion, those were definitely relevant and present in her case. The three that I found to be the most relevant were the reciprocity, consistency, and liking. Probably liking at the beginning is what I noticed first because she enjoyed meeting people and was just interested in people, and then made an effort even in her personal life with her family and her kids to make connections, and people liked her because she took an interest in them. With reciprocity and consistency, those really went hand in hand because she understood she had to give in order to receive, either for herself or for someone she's trying to help. And she was very consistent and was even unapologetic about it when it came to, it cost her time and it cost her efficiency to look at business plans and meet with people and to follow up with people after she met them. But she always made a point to be consistent and to follow up with someone the day after and get their information in her contact book and get their information in her head, and write out an email saying it was great to meet you and establish that so it could benefit both parties in the future. With the Give and Take book by Adam Grant, Heidi is definitely a giver. We see that from the very beginning, like I said earlier, with her time and her efficiency. Even if it cost her, she was willing to give that up because she knew she would see the rewards from it in the long run. And she definitely did. And I really appreciate how she didn't compromise on that. And she was very shrewd in her business decisions and her positioning of herself. So when she did get burned out at Apple, she was able to move to a different sort of organization, but it was still using her assets and using her skills to the maximum. And the article that to me was easily the most relevant and present in Heidi's case was How to Build Your Network by Dunlap and Uzi. And the three principles it talks about: private information, a diverse skill set, and then pure power. Heidi definitely exemplifies these. She was in a really prominent, really coming of age industry in the 80s and 90s with software and internet and all that coming to be as big as it is now. And so she had a very interesting perspective on that, very interesting insight, and was able to have an edge with the information she had access to. She had a very diverse set of skills because of her perspective as a woman vice president, as a woman entrepreneur. And I think that also gave her an edge because women weren't as prevalent in that industry at that time. And then just the power and the influence she had just as an information broker, like that article talked about, because she spent so much time developing connections from all different areas, from her kids' activities to her husband's friends to her time spent as an entrepreneur, and then her time spent as a mentor capitalist. She had so many different connections, and she was able to bring people together and really be that broker for other people. And so probably my main takeaway from all of this is just how powerful a network can really be, especially when you're strategic and you are very proactive with it and think about how, not just how it can benefit you, but also how you can use it to benefit other people, and that usually reciprocates, like the article talks about.